Hey, we are 15 minutes late because my whole computer just shut down. This is the second time today that I've had difficulties with some of the platforms that I've been on. So let's start over. Hello, let's take a breath. Hello, I'm Coach Yolanda, certified spiritual life coach, Reiki master, certified perinatal educator, and a host of other things. And it is my pleasure to be with you today. If you were using the previous link to get into this live, that's okay. All things unfold the way that they are to unfold by design. I won't even apologize for anything that did not happen the way that you think it was supposed to happen, because I know all things are happening as intended. And so some of you may be viewing this live if you can find me. Some of you may be viewing this on the replay. Either way, it is a discussion. And I'm grateful that old Yolanda would have been like, oh, well, that means we're not supposed to do it. Oh, well, that means universe. And in my heart of hearts, I know that it's it may be something that you need too. And so I have been talking about doing more guided meditations. Hey, beautiful. And I'm so grateful that I figured out whatever it was going on. And I don't think, again, it was by accident. Everything had to, I guess, be cleansed and cleared so that we could both enjoy, so that we could all enjoy this moment together. And so, as you chat as well, we'll have time for later on. You can ask any question as long as it's appropriate. Whether it's about the course, whether it's something going on with you, be mindful that the chat is live and other people can read it. If you want to get in contact with me after, I'll let you know how to do that as well. It has been my pleasure and my honor to speak to so many of you through this platform. When I did the meditation with Stephanie Perry, I guess it was maybe 2 months ago, I had no idea that it would put me in a place of sharing with so many beautiful Black women. And I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And in that same vein, this week, an interesting week for me. I don't know about how for you. You can put it in the chat. Let me know where you're from, um, and what's going on with you. Certainly, the news this week in terms of Brittany Griner, and Breonna Taylor brought up some emotions for me that I didn't even expect. As a matter of fact, one day this week, I felt like I was incapacitated. I felt like the blood was leaving my body and I couldn't do anything except for sleep. And I couldn't understand. I was like, what is this? What is going on? Why do I feel this way? Why do I feel so heavy? And then this news came out, and I said, okay, maybe this was a preemptive strike to prepare myself for what was coming. And so many of you may have felt that as well. You know, it seems as though just when we get to a point, we were all celebrating, Beyonce's music, and then boom, something happens. It's like we can't seem to catch a break in terms of just feeling good. Here in the United States, because I recognize we are all over, here in the United States, we are in the summer months, and we are in that time where some kids have already gone back to school. There are transitionings happening. People are winding down their summer activities. And so there's this melancholy feeling. And that is one of the reasons why I wanted to do the course, because feelings drive everything, emotions drive everything. And if you are someone who may not be in connection with the emotions that are going on in your body, then it could feel like, I don't know where I'm at in my life. I don't know where I'm going. I don't understand why I am behaving the way that I'm behaving. It's probably your emotions that you're connected to. And so, professionally and personally, there are 8 emotions that in my work and in my personal life, them in various videos. I'll go over them again: sadness, fear, shame, guilt, terror, hurt, denial. Those 8 emotions can be used against us as Black women, and we could be using those against ourselves, which is why I created this course, A Time to Cry. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But right now, I want us to make sure that we are comfortable. Again, if you are watching on the replay, same rules apply. Make sure that you're comfortable. If you have clothing on that feels restrictive, loosen it up or take it off if it's appropriate, if you are somewhere where you can do that. If you need something to drink, make sure you have something to drink on hand, some water, some tea, something that's going to be and feel good in your body. Wherever you are sitting, make sure that you are comfortable. You could be laying down, sitting down, wherever you are. Just make sure the environment around you is one where you can focus, because we are going to enter into a process and ritual of libations. And libations can be done by anyone, and sometimes they're done and we don't know that's exactly what we are doing. But it is honoring. It is honoring Great Mother, and we are not outside. I have my plant here to represent the Great Mother, Mother Earth. We're going to be pouring one element of Mother Earth back into Mother Earth. In the same vein, we're going to say thank you. Libation is signifying that we are grateful. We are grateful for the energies that have gone before us. We are grateful for the energy that is present, and we are welcoming in new energy and grateful for their appearance here in this plane. Whether we are aware of it or not, we are in ancestor training. And so we have energies that are behind us, that's coming behind us, that has not yet made physical form. And we want to clear things. And water is a purifier, it's a clearer, it's a healer. Why I chose the title, A Time to Cry, because tears are healing, water is healing, and we're going to do that now. So as much reverence and honor that you can muster in this right now moment, I just ask that everyone start to take deep breaths, settle into your body. And perhaps there are women, specifically Black women, since this is specifically designated and designed for women who identify as Black. All of our Black and brown sisters, we want to, in this right now moment, think about those women who are no longer here, who have transitioned. The great mothers, the aunts, the sisters, the girlfriends, the teachers, the historical women that we may not have known personally but have made an impact in our life. We want to think about them in this right now moment. Even if you know them by name or not, let's lift them up and say thank you. When I think about my own mother, my grandmother, my aunts, and all those women who I hold as ancestors in my heart and in my mind and in my body, and the work that they have endured, all of the things that they have seen with their eyes, the things that they built with their own hands, so that I could come into this right now moment. And for that, I'm so grateful. And so, in the spirit of Rosa, my mother, in the spirit of Bessie, my grandmother, in the spirit of Elizabeth, my paternal grandmother, in the spirit of all of my aunts, so many to name, and all of those women who raised me, loved me, cared for me, guided me, did whatever it was necessary, the sacrifices they made, the tears that they cried on my behalf, so that I would never have to cry those same tears. I thank them and I honor them in this moment. And I know that the same is true for you. So honor your ancestors in this moment. And as we continue to breathe, don't forget to breathe. Let's think about the angels here on earth, those women, your sisters, your mother, your girlfriends, your co-workers, strangers sometimes. And in the spirit of those who are holding on to things that no longer serve them for another purpose. Maybe it's a mother who is holding on to something so that her children won't have to endure whatever it is she's holding on to, the pain that she has in her body. Maybe it is a grandmother with a secret that she feels as though she cannot share with her children for fear that it may cause them harm. Maybe it is a coworker who you sit next to every single day and you have no idea what she will be holding in this right now moment. We want to honor them, honor the secrets that we feel we have to hold. So many of us as Black men have secrets that we are afraid to express, afraid to share, afraid to even let leave our lips for fear that it could be used against us, that it could be used to dishonor us, or maybe we just came to that realization on our own. It's just too painful to do so. We want to honor that spirit and lift it up to a higher plane, saying, we see you, we love you, sister, mother, daughter, aunt, friend, colleague, and sometimes even stranger. Right now, we are asking that the energy of all of those Black women that are on this plane enter into those spaces where one of our sisters needs us. Certainly, we want to surround Brittany Griner as much love and compassion that our hearts can create and send it to where she is so that she knows that we are praying for her, thinking for her, and crying for her. And so we say thank you to all of those women. Ashe. And this is my favorite part of libations. Those energies that have yet to come into physical form. They may be your children, they may be your grandchildren, they may be your neighbors, they may be individuals, women who have yet to come into the fullness of their womanhood. We are calling them in with love in this right now moment. We do not know them by name unless we have chosen names for them. If they are within your body or the energy of the possibility of them are within your heart, we honor them in this moment. We do our personal development work so that the tears that we cry will never fall from their eyes. The sacrifices that we make will never limit their life experience. We do what we do as potential ancestors to all so that they will not carry the burdens that we are now releasing, because once we release it, it is done. And so I'm grateful and honored to stand for all of those energies that have yet to be born into existence. And we honor you in this moment with Ashe. And so, as I said earlier, we may be entering into libation ceremony all the time. Anytime you see someone pour something out for the homies or, have a drink in honor of someone that may not be present, that is libation. That is libation. And we want to honor. We want to honor the spirit of our sisters, our Black sisters who are no longer here, whether by their own hands, the hands of another, or it was simply their time to transition. We know that their energies remain here, their stories remain here with us. And some of those stories, although we may not know them personally, are within our own stories, right? Some of the things that our dear departed sisters have gone through, we are also experiencing. And we may think, why are we still here? Why are we still having these conversations? Why is this thing not eradicated yet for Black women? Some mornings I wake up and I say, is this the day that we're going to love on Black women? Is today the day? And so it can get very frustrating when we do hear stories of our ancestors. But here's the beautiful thing, because they have endured and because that energy remains, as long as we are honoring that spirit, there is wisdom that we can learn. There is wisdom that we can draw from. There is a possibility and a hope and an inspiration that even if the circumstances of those women that passed on, their dream may not have been fully realized, they had the audacity to even think it possible so that we could carry it on. And so oftentimes when I'm in my feelings about what I can do, can't do, I have to think about those women I have to think about my mother. I have to think about my grandmother, and knowing that I am not just doing and living this life for me, I'm doing it in honor of them. And the same is true for those of us who are here. I am your sister, you are mine. My success is your success. Because we never know when we are inspiring, encouraging someone by our life story. We may never get the thank you. We may never get the connection. We may never hear of how someone persevered because we did what we did. But just know it is true. Just know it's true. And so, for that energy that has yet to be born, it's exciting to think about what life will look like for them based upon the work that we are doing for ourselves and for one another. We are clearing a path, ladies, at all times, which is why mindfulness is such a grateful practice to enter into because it's ancestor training. Everything that you are doing for yourself is not just for you. It's for every woman that comes behind you, whether you are biologically related or not. It is for every single woman. And so, you, at any time that you are with a liquid, you are by the water, you are taking a shower or bath, wherever water is, you can enter into libations in honor of ancestors, those who are present, and those who are coming. It's a gratitude practice. It's a gratitude and spiritual practice. And it is very honoring, not only to your spirit, but to all spirits. And so, hopefully, you are feeling a lot more relaxed, knowing that what we're doing right now is not just for us, it is for the collective of Black women throughout the diaspora. And that alone makes me tingle when I think about it. Like, I'm not just doing work for me, I'm doing work for all of us. And you have chosen to join today, not just because, but because we have chosen to get together, it is a declaration to the universe that we are serious about our healing. Yes, we're serious about healing our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical selves, not just for ourselves, but for the greater good of all womankind. We are focusing specifically on healing Black women. Again, there are 8 emotions that we are going to be dealing with in the course, but now we're going to move into meditation. It is going to be a guided meditation. Again, this is something that you may need to listen to more than once. And I'm not just saying that for views. I'm saying that because there are times when even I hear something different when I'm rewatching something. And so make sure you're comfortable. Continue to breathe. If you need to take a sip of water right now, that would be good, right? I was going to tell everybody to wear white, but I'm not going to put those kind of conditions. I've done enough for all of us, enough cleansing and clearing. We did cleansing and clearing through the libation ceremony. So now we can make sure that we are physically comfortable so that mentally, emotionally, and spiritually we become comfortable as well. And we are going to go through those 8 emotions that I mentioned. We are going to go through sadness, anger, guilt, shame, terror, hurt, apathy, and denial. Not in any particular order. We're going to let spirit guide us and we'll see what comes up. I will say that if at any point it feels too heavy for you, that please, you may stop and revisit this at a later time. I want everyone to be safe. I want everyone to be well, and I want everyone to take care of themselves. And so as you continue to breathe deeply, you may take your hands and place them wherever you feel it is comfortable. I'll be placing my hands at my heart because for me, this week, sadness and anger, they rose up. And I know that that is a condition of my heart. And so I want my heart to be well. And so if the same is true for you, then feel free to follow suit. Place your hands on your heart, that most blessed vessel where all things lead to and all things come from. And as we continue to breathe and come into this right now moment, we have to also enter into a spirit and an energy of gratitude. Gratitude for this right now moment. Gratitude that we are here together, despite whatever may have happened before, And despite what may happen after, in this right now moment, we are together, and it is a beautiful thing. And I'm so grateful and so honored to be in your presence. Think about the emotions that sometimes come over us like a river. Let's start with that type of visualization. Since we began with water, let us return to the water. And that at times, our emotions can feel like the waves at the coast, going in and going out, ebbing and flowing, sometimes rolling very loudly and profoundly, sometimes very silently, and almost at a whisper. And where you are in your life right now, there may be some challenges that have created this sea of emotions that flow like the water. And one of those emotions may be a sadness, a deep sadness in your heart that you may even feel in your bones. Maybe it has a name. Maybe it is nameless and faceless. Maybe it has connected with another sadness that was present within you from quite some time ago. Maybe it's someone else's sadness. But let's just visualize for a moment that that sadness is floating on the top of the ocean. Whatever it looks like, sounds like, feels like in your body, you know it all too well. It comes over you, and there are times when you don't feel as though you are on the surface, that you might be sinking. Lower, lower, and lower. It feels like that sadness can be like a weight around your shoulders, around your neck, around your ankles, pulling you down so deeply that you stop seeing the light from the sun. And as it pulls you down into the ocean, into the water, there's something else that may be happening for you. There is a cleansing. Because you are one with the water at this moment, with your sadness, and you may not know its name, the water rushing in and washing over you is revealing some things. And perhaps what it is revealing is that this sadness is not yours alone. That perhaps this sadness belongs to many people in your family, in your generational line. Maybe this emotion of sadness that seems to overcome you and pull you down at the most inopportune times, and it feels like you're trying to struggle to get to the top of the surface of the ocean, but something keeps pulling you down. Perhaps in the midst of all of that pulling, there is a cleansing. And so just envision right now that your sadness is being cleansed. That instead of fighting against what may be pulling you down, you are meeting it. Perhaps you are placing your hand upon that thing that feels so heavy and recognizing that the water makes it lighter. The water makes you lighter. The water makes the sadness lighter. And together, hand in hand, you feel like you're able to lift it up. You feel like the tide moving back and forth is actually cleansing and supporting you. So where you're not sinking, you are not floating. And maybe that sadness, again, is not yours. Maybe it's for one of your dear sisters. Maybe there is a dear sister who is facing an illness and you just want to make it better for her. Maybe that sadness is one of your children who is facing something and you just want to make it better. Maybe that sadness is for someone significant in your life who is looking to you to make it better, and you feel equipped to do so. Let the water from the ocean wash that feeling from you in this moment. Connect with the sadness, which is an appropriate response to things not going well, to things being lost, to unknown invaders of your peace. Let that sadness have a new name that you have given it, so that you can identify it whenever it comes back again, where you're not running from it, you're not trying to swim away from it. You might just need it so that you can cleanse it and heal it and give it what it needs. And it may remain on the surface, but when it is on the surface, you are better equipped to look at it, manage it, and support it. It doesn't take you over. It doesn't take you under. It's actually part of the healing and cleansing process. And you have chosen to allow that sadness to be there for as ever long as it needs to send you the messages that you need to hear so that it turns into the truth. Because the reason that sadness feels so heavy is because it is riddled with illusions. Your not enoughness, you're always losing, you can't do anything right. Those are all illusions that are mingled up with that sadness, which is why it feels so heavy. Let the water cleanse it so that you see nothing but the truth. Sadness is an emotion that is part of the human experience. It doesn't always have any rhyme or reason, but it is an indication that you are alive and that your heart is fully operational. And so we don't have to run from or feel as though someone else is going to use our sadness against us. We are confident that this sadness is within us to teach us something, to show us something, to connect us to one another. Because when I am sad, and when I am connected, that emotion in my heart, then I can connect with someone else. Again, that sadness is an indication that you are alive and you have compassion in your heart for yourself and for others. Because without compassion, you stop being human. And so your sadness is an example of your humanness. And so we're going to let that water cleanse our sadness in this moment so that we can see the truth. That sadness is an appropriate response to loss, to disappointment, to all of the things that we held in our heart and we wanted to happen and we were so proud of, that we feel may have been taken away. You are not being punished, but you absolutely have the right to be sad. And no one gets to tell you that your sadness is not valid. Honor your sadness. And we honor our sadness so that we honor all of the emotions that are within us. And so as we move and see sadness now floating at the surface of the ocean, it's still bobbing and weaving. It may still be present for you. Even as we end this meditation later on, it may still be present, but now you are more aware of your ability to cleanse it and to see it for the truth that is, and not the story that has been made up around your sadness. No one can use it against you, and you will not use it against yourself. You recognize and affirm, I have a right to be sad. And I'm going to honor my sadness. I'm going to honor my emotions. And so as we are looking out over the ocean, we see something else floating and it's coming in hot. That's that anger. That anger that used to demonize Black women since the beginning of time. And we're going to meet that anger. It's red hot, and yet it is in the water. So there's a lot of steam coming up off of this anger. One thing about anger, we know what we're angry about, and it may be a combination of things, But anger is truth. The way in which it is expressed may not always be appropriate, but anger is truth. And we do have the right to be angry, despite what this world, what our family, what our friends, and even what we say about it. Anger is an emotion that Black women absolutely have the right to hold. How we express it so that it does not harm us, harm someone else, is what we're doing today in this meditation. So we're going to look at the anger that is red hot and on fire, and we're trying to figure out how is this anger in the water still on fire, because it's intense. In this week, this month, this year, these past couple of years, there may have been an intense anger in your body and in your spirit that you do not allow to be. You have a right to express that anger. Someone disrespected you. Someone dishonored you. Someone lied to you. Or maybe you're angry with yourself. Maybe you betrayed yourself. Maybe you said you weren't going to do that thing and you went ahead and did that thing one more time, and now you're angry, you're upset, you're on fire. Just like the visualization of a pit of fire on top of the ocean. We actually want to pull it down. We want to get deep. Here it goes. The more that we can see it for what it is, the more that we are cleansing it, the more the intensity of that fire starts to dissipate. Now, you absolutely know what you are angry about. And you may be telling yourself, oh, you shouldn't be angry about that. Doesn't matter how long ago it happened. Doesn't matter if the people involved are no longer alive or they're not speaking to you or you made up. If you're angry about it, tell yourself the truth. That I have a right as a Black woman to be angry and to not have it used against me. That's a them problem. That's not a you problem. So you don't pretend. You don't have to wait until you get into the shower and you're crying because you're so upset and so angry and yet you can't say anything. Or however anger comes up for you. Or maybe you're eating your anger. You're just so daggone angry, you're just eating everything in sight, punishing yourself because you feel like the person or the thing or the experience that you want to punish will never see justice. And certainly for Black women, justice is important. We are raised to believe that if we are good girls and do things the way that we are supposed to do, that we will receive justice, we will receive care and concern. Or perhaps someone told you because you're a Black woman, you're not deserving of any of those things. And you're angry about it. Understood, not appreciated. Whatever the label of your anger is, it is valid. But if you are harming yourself because of unexpressed anger, or you are harming other people because of unexpressed anger, then I want you to pull that anger down under the surface of the ocean of the water and let it be cleansed in this moment. See it for what it is. Not the story that we have created or was created by someone else. See it for the truth. Something happened that should not have happened, and you are upset about it. You absolutely have the right to be upset. Are you going to let it continue to interrupt your human experience, or are you going to cleanse it, clean it, so that you see the truth of it and use it as motivation for the types of choices that you now make, the type of boundaries that you now create? One thing I love about anger is that it is a great motivator to create healthy boundaries. And so as we are washing away the intensity of this anger that seemed to somehow burn in the middle of the ocean, and we're pulling it under and we're cleansing and we're clearing, and we can see the truth. My anger is valid. It is mine. And it allows me to see what is important for me. It allows me to see and to feel what my healthy boundaries are and what happens when they are crossed or when I don't have any set to begin with. So let this anger be a motivating factor that I will seek justice, that I will express myself, assert myself, speak up for myself, that I'll stop with the people pleasing and the overachieving because I don't know how to express anger. I will not turn it inward or outward. I will express it in balance. Healthy, balanced anger is the best kind of anger because it keeps you focused, it keeps you cleansed, and it keeps you in the truth of what is. And so, as we use all that we have, we're looking at this vast ocean with all of this stuff ebbing and flowing. Sadness is over here, and now it comes back. Anger is over there, and now it comes back. It ebbs and it flows, both of them appropriate. We can now take sadness and anger and say that we have balanced those appropriately. So, let's take a look at shame. Oh, shame, shame, shame. It's not always our stuff. And we see it. We see the shame that's on the surface of the ocean, and we don't even want to look at it. That's how ugly it is for us. We don't even want to look at it. Maybe we're ashamed of our physical appearance. Maybe we're ashamed of our mental state, our emotional state. Maybe we're ashamed that we haven't had conversations with the God of our understanding in quite some time. Something is telling us that we are wrong. Something is telling us that we don't have the right to even exist the way that we are existing. We are held by shame. And shame is something that others either see or they don't see. Sometimes we offer up the information by apologizing for things that we didn't even do. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. Because shame has got us by the throat. And so we season everything with an excuse. I don't mean to be a bother. I can't believe I said that. Oh my God, there I go again. Whatever it sounds like, feels like for you, if shame is attached to it, we're going to pull that sucker right up under the surface of the water right now in this moment. So pull your shame down. Because if there is shame in your bones, in your bodies that is holding you back or that is being used against you, maybe someone knows something and you're different around them just in case they let out the thing that you don't want let out. Maybe you engaged in behavior in your past that others are still holding against you. People love to bring up receipts as a form of manipulation. And shame and manipulation go hand in hand. And one of the ways to combat is to pull that shame down and let it be cleansed in the waters, in the ocean, knowing that you're not being pulled, that shame is not being pulled under to take you under, but you are cleansing it in this moment so that it cannot be used against you, so that you don't use it against yourself, so that it does not become the way in which you interact with other people. We're going to pull that shame away and recognize that we are not the measure of things that were done to us or things that we did or whispers that other people create about us. We know who we are in our heart of hearts. And if you know who you are, do not let shame tell you any different. Secrets that keep you from fully realizing the human experience that you desire to have. We are cleansing and clearing that away so that the truth can be revealed. We all have things that we would do differently if we knew differently. We all have had things happen to us that we did not call into our experience, that we didn't learn for our highest good. We have all experienced things as women that we have been told we should be ashamed of. Let's cleanse that nonsense right now and stand firm on the truth is, I am well as I am through what I needed to get through to be in this right now moment. And even if there are things that I engage in from this point forward, shame will not get in the way of me healing myself, of me taking accountability and ownership of the things that I have to own up to. Embarrassment is not going to limit my human experience. And so we are cleansing that in this right now moment. So visualize whatever that thing is, whatever the label is, whatever you believe that you have done that is so egregious. I'm here to tell you it is not. It is cleansed and clean in this moment. And for those of you who are believers, is that not the entire point? Is that not the entire point of things being washed away on your behalf so that you do not carry the burden of shame anymore? And as we have cleansed and cleaned shame, so we've got sadness, we've got anger, we've got shame, and there may be some things that we engage in where we might hold on to a little bit of shame. Or maybe it turns into this next emotion, guilt. For all of the mothers who are watching, we have so much guilt about so many things. And as Black women, sometimes we are held guilty for things that we didn't even do, didn't even say, weren't even present at. And right now we see that on the surface and it feels heavy. Guilt will absolutely pull you down, have you saying yes when you mean no in your spirit, have you doing things for people that you never would have done. And guilt is also something that is used to manipulate. And we don't want to hold those energies in our body. And we'll go through more and more of this cleansing and clearing in the upcoming days. But right now, whatever the label of guilt that you are holding. Now, shame is something that you just don't want anyone to know about. You don't want anybody to find out. Guilt is something that rolls around in your head that you feel bad for doing, saying, believing. Maybe you did something in your past that is holding you back now. There is a way that guilt can keep you accountable, but if it is harming you or making you feel as though you are less than or that you are deserving of punishment, then we want to eliminate that. Anything that I feel guilty about, let it motivate me to create more discipline in my life wherever it is needed and not punishment, which continuously tells me that I'm a horrible person. I know each and every single one of us has had the experience as a Black woman of feeling guilty, that non-enoughness. I could have done more. I could have said more. My mother was able to do this and I'm not able, or my mother never did these things. And so now out of guilt for what I did that, I'm doing the most for everyone. We're going to cleanse that right now and balance those energies out. Yes, we want to be accountable. Yes, we want to take ownership. No, we do not deserve punishment. And there are many days that as Black women, we feel like we are being punished just for existing. We will not take on anyone else's stuff and turn it into guilt or shame. And now that we've cleansed those two, let's go to our two friends that could be so deeply embedded in our being, in our consciousness, that we're not aware of terror and hurt. Now, many of us are walking around with hurt and we haven't expressed it. We darn sure don't want anyone else to know it. And so let us visualize right now that hurt is on the surface and it can be seen by all. Hurt might be the one emotion where you want to pull it under because you don't want anyone to know how hurt you are, how vulnerable you are. Because as Black women, we're supposed to be strong all the time. And so if our feelings are hurt, if we're physically hurt, we don't want anyone to know. Let's eliminate that and cleanse that. We are deserving of care and affection. If we have been hurt, we are deserving of care and affection. Repeat that to yourself. I have been hurt and I am deserving of care and affection. Those of us with tough skin that feel as though we have to do it all, even when our emotions are in an uproar, our bodies might be in pain. Just as we started with the libation ceremony where we thanked our ancestors, I believe that as I have sat in gratitude for all that my ancestors endured, it means that I do not endure it. I do not have to endure pain for someone else's comfort. So repeat again, we are deserving of care and affection and consideration of our feelings. And right now it feels like we are being hurt on purpose and no one seems to care. I care, you care. So let's pull that hurt emotion down. Let's cleanse it. Let's clear it. Let's expose ourselves to the love that we deserve, expose our hearts, expose our bodies. And I know that means being vulnerable, and that doesn't always feel safe. But if you do not express your hurt, then it will not be recognized or acknowledged. You have to acknowledge and recognize your hurt first at all times. When you are in pain physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, acknowledge it. Meet it, cleanse it, heal it, balance it. And so the companion to hurt is terror. This is a deep-seated emotion where you are so fearful of something that you may not even recognize the terror that it holds over you. It could be a person, it could be an experience, it could be a memory or an observation. Certainly, what we have seen in the past couple of years in terms of interactions, people who mean us no good, who literally want to hurt and harm us, can cause terror in our bodies. And if that terror is present in our bodies, then we have to cleanse it and clear it. So let's pull that under the surface of the ocean. Where we were trying to mask hurt, terror is already being masked because we may not realize that we are so afraid of things, that there are places that we won't go, people that we won't talk to, dreams that never get born because of this overwhelming fear in the body, in the mind, in the spirit. And knowing that anytime we ask and make a request, the universe is listening. We ask in this right now moment, if there is a hidden terror anywhere within our bodies, we ask that it be revealed so that we can give it the love that it deserves. Sometimes terror is our own greatness. We are afraid of our own greatness. It's so terrifying that we don't speak on it. We don't talk about it. We hold those things secret. Release that need, that desire, that terror, that fear, that resistance that comes with being hurt or having terror because you saw something, heard something, experienced something in your past, your most recent past, that has you in absolute fear that you can't even speak about it. It could be an experience with a loved one. It could be an experience with a stranger or something that we are seeing that now impacts our human experience as Black women. And it could also be used against us. Let us continue to bring up traumatic events so that you will remain afraid and in terror and you will stay stagnant. Terror and hurt can be used against us if we don't acknowledge and if we don't express that that's what's going on with us. So, hurt and terror are being cleansed in this moment. We've asked for it. And so, as we continue to take a deep breath, don't forget to breathe, y'all, particularly with those last two, terror and hurt. It takes a lot of breathing. And all of these emotions are floating together in our ocean, in this vast ocean that we have around us. And we're cleansing, clearing. We have cleansed sadness, anger, shame, guilt, terror, and hurt. And now we're going to go to the one where, we have practiced the art of denial. And that can go along with hurt. You could be in so much pain that you deny even feeling it. But denial is when you absolutely do not connect to anything that you have experienced, witnessed. You just don't believe it. Never happened. I'm going to deny the truth. And we as Black women cannot afford to deny the truth of the things that have happened and the things that we have experienced. And this is often seen as a survival tactic, right? If I don't think about it, if I avoid it, then it's not real. But that thing is still living in your bones, still living in your body, and it's going to be expressed whether you recognize it or not. So you might as well recognize it. So while we see denial's probably hiding behind a big old rock in the ocean. Let's look around the rock, pull denial out by its hands, and say, I see you, and I know that you are real. You do not have any power over me in this moment. I am no longer denying the truth of what I know, of what I've seen, of what I've heard, of what I've experienced, what I've seen, or what my sister told me. I'm not denying the truth anymore. And one of the truths that we women want to deny most is just how wonderful we are. That not enoughness, we deny. Some will call it imposter syndrome. There's nothing about you that's fake or phony. In this right now moment, we are cleansing the denial that lives in our body that causes us to pretend that we don't see something, hear something, or know something to be true. Each and every single one of us has an intuitive knowing. We have it. That's why you can't get anything past us, because we know it. But when we deny things for ourselves, you know what you heard, you know what you saw, you know who did what and when they did it. Don't deny it. We give people 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 million passes. And sometimes we won't even give ourselves one. So we're going to clean that so that we can see the truth. That denial is a safety survival mechanism, an absolutely appropriate human response to when you do not feel safe or you do not feel ready to address something. But we're going to cleanse it and tell ourselves the truth. If it is in my experience, if it is in my body, it is impacting me. Therefore, I have to address it. I have to acknowledge it. I have to lift it up so that it receives the love, the care, and affection that it deserves. And I'm no longer denying my needs for other people's needs. I'm no longer denying the support and the help that I know that I need, the resources that I need in my life. I'm no longer denying any of that. I am walking in truth. That is what the cleansing of the water is doing for us right now. Washing away any denial, any betrayal, any hint of I don't know how I feel. I don't know what I want. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know why I do what I do. You know, we all have a knowing within us. Let us connect to it in this moment. And as we are connecting to the knowing, we can no longer afford to be apathetic And so apathy is that eighth emotion that we are addressing in this right now moment during this meditative space. Apathy says, I can't be bothered. That is a real concern of me. I'm minding my business. Now, I am one for minding my business, but I'm also one for recognizing when I am impacted by the behavior and actions of others. And so it does matter. Again, apathy is a survival instinct and it's floating on the top of the ocean. We see it, we just don't respond to it. And so for many of us, it is numbness. We have become numb to the things that are going on around us because we feel like we cannot handle it. But when you shut down one emotion, you shut down all emotions. So if you're apathetic, then how are you fully loving? If you don't care about particular things in your own life, how can you care about anything? Some of us are apathetic to our health, apathetic to our finances, apathetic to the relationships that we have in our life, where we're not breathing life into our own lives. We just, whatever happens, happens. I need you to cleanse and clear that right now on my behalf, on your ancestors' behalf, on the energies coming behind. We need to cleanse and clear it as Black women right now. We have no longer any time to be apathetic about things that are meaningful to us. Everything is meaningful to us because everything intersects and affects us. Even things that are going on so far away that we feel like are not bothering us, they are. As they say, things roll downhill. They typically roll right into the lap of Black women. Let's cleanse and clear whatever is going on right now in our minds, in our bodies, in our spirits, in our sisterhood. We can't turn away from our sisters anymore and just say, well, that's not my business. I don't know what's going on over there. I done told her, she don't want to listen. Remain an open space for healing for yourself and for others. Pray for one another. Meditate with each other. Pull your sister up when she needs pulling up. Extend your hand. Don't pull it away. Apathy will keep us stagnant if we turn our nose and turn our heads when we see something going on. We've got to love each other. And if I see something floating on your surface, I hope you see something floating on mine. If you ask me how I am and I say fine and you know that's not the truth, I want you to bug me about it, not be apathetic and say, oh, well, mind my business. That's how we lose people. I need my people who love me to be nosy. So let's be a little bit more nosy. Make sure that we're not falling into that energy of apathy, which again is a survival instinct, which tells us if I don't connect with it, then I don't have to be responsible for it. And we are so far more capable of the things that we give ourselves credit for. I know that there are heavy burdens that we are all carrying, and we feel like I'm doing the most for everyone. When is someone going to do something for me? That's why all of these emotions need to be connected and cleansed and healed. Because if you are apathetic to your own needs, so will everyone else. If you are in denial about your own needs, so will everyone else. If you are holding on to shame and guilt, so will everyone else. And so all of this is about honoring who you are. All of those emotions deserve to be honored. If you are apathetic about something, find out why. If you are in denial about something, find out why. If you are holding guilt or shame, find out why. If you are holding on to sadness, anger, terror, or hurt, Find out why. That is why we want all of these things on the ocean cleansed and healed so that we can see it, recognize it, acknowledge it, become aware of when these energies, when this emotion rises up in our body, we can take our hands, place it over our heart, and say, I see you, I hear you, I recognize you, and I am aware that I have all that I need to support whatever it is I am going through. And if I cannot do it on my own, I have a sisterhood I can connect with because we have decided to heal together. And so do a quick check-in with your body. Which one of those emotions still resonate for you? Is it sadness? Is it anger? Is it shame? Is it guilt? Is it terror or hurt, apathy, denial? It could be all 8. If you can connect with at least one in this moment, then that will be the one that's going to lead you to some of your greatest healing. Because you have made the request with your mind, your body, and your spirit to become more aware of what's going on with you emotionally and how that affects you mentally and how that determines how you show up physically, your behavior, and certainly how you hold it spiritually. We want all of who we are in perfect harmony. And in order to do that, it's time to release the blockages that prevent us from touching these 8 emotions with the truth. And so just envision that these 8 flotation devices, we'll call them that. These 8 flotation devices are floating around. The sadness, the anger, the hurt, the terror, all of them are floating around in your personal ocean. They have been cleansed, they have been cleared. You are now in the mindset that what it is that you have to do is reconnect to your body, your mind, your spirit, that you do not have to live an unfinished life. You can live a full life, fully expressing all that you are as a Black woman. You do not have to deny yourself the pleasure of having a full life, experiencing all that you were created to experience, not in the way that society or anyone else says you have to, but the way that you determine is best for you. And you can do so in a sisterhood of other beautiful Black women. And so as you continue to breathe and think about what emotion is coming up for you now, we're going to wiggle our toes, wiggle our fingers, maybe stretch and move our heads around, come back to this space. Again, the chat is open. I am honored to have gone through all of those 8 emotions. Maybe something came up for you. Maybe something will come up later. I'm going to put the emotions in the chat so that you can remember exactly which ones we talked about. Again, you can have more than one going on at the same time. We are masterful in that way. We're not one-dimensional creatures where only one thing is going on. And so I put in the chat all 8 of the different emotions that we talked about today and that we'll be talking about in the upcoming course. Putting my website there to give you more information about the course that starts Tuesday. Some of you have already registered. Registration is still open. You don't have to have been registered to go through this meditation because in my professional life and my personal life, these emotions come up all the time. I'm always asking people, what do you know about anger? Or how was anger expressed in your childhood? And so now is a good time to talk. If anybody wants to talk about those emotions or any other emotions that you have been feeling, now would be a good time to talk about that. Let me just say that for me this week, sadness and anger came up. So much so that I didn't even really connect with it at first. I was like, what's going on? Am I sick? God forbid, do I have something? And it was like, no, fool, you sad. I'm like, what am I sad about? However, I was able to connect with so many different things that I was sad about. So it wasn't just one thing, it was a culmination of different things. And what I know about me is that my sadness and my anger, because sadness and anger are the same emotion, they just manifest differently. My sadness turns into anger really, really quickly if I'm not careful. And so my remedy when I am sad is I got to be quiet, I got to be silent, I stay to myself. If I feel like I'm ready to express it, I know who I can express that with. It certainly goes into my prayer. I don't hide anything from God because God knows all. So why would I try to hide anything? So sometimes my prayers are really, really sad, and I honor that. My prayer partner, always, if I'm sad, I'm going to tell her, I don't feel right. I don't feel good. Let me tell you why I'm sad. And when I do that, when I express the sadness, the likelihood that it turns into air that I project out into the world is less and less. And that is one of the reasons why we want to connect with our emotions. So we can do a preemptive strike so that our emotions don't overcome us, because you know what happens. Anytime a Black woman is emotional, we don't even know why she's emotional. We don't even want to get to the root of what it is. We want it to stop. Why is she angry? She needs to stop. Why is she crying? She needs to stop. And I want us to stop doing that to each other. If your sister is sad, it's not the time to say, oh, well, we got to get you out of this. Ask her why. And is it connected to something that happened in her past that hasn't been healed yet? If someone is angry, instead of worrying about their behavior and what they might do, ask them why they're angry. Who took something from you? You know what? A lot of the interactions that we're seeing nowadays on social media, they would have been easily resolved if someone would say, well, can you explain to me why this is so intense for you? What's going on? Instead of getting defensive, you pulling your phone out to record, and I'm pulling my phone out to record, when it could have been resolved if someone had just taken a breath and said, wow, that's a real intense emotion for you. You want to talk about why that is? And so if you don't have places where you can do that, where you can process your emotions, number one, you have to be able to self-regulate and do it for yourself, but you also need community to do that, which is why I constantly am creating communities so that people feel safe enough to express who they are. And the reason I call this course, this meditation, a time to cry is because crying is our native language. When we came into this world, the first thing we did was cry, and we got a response. That is how we learn to ask for things. Little tiny babies, newborn babies that don't have language, they have crying, and they recognize that when I cry, things happen. People love me, hopefully. People feed me, people hold me, rock me, take care of me. It is the way that we learn how to ask for love. And so I named it A Time to Cry because crying is our native language. And sometimes we have to give ourselves permission to cry, to go back to that state of being that says, I'm important and I'm deserving of attention and care and affection and intimacy and love. I am deserving of these things, because when we shut our emotions down, we're telling ourselves, I don't deserve to be taken care of. I don't deserve to be affirmed. I don't deserve to be honored. And nothing could be further from the truth. You are absolutely deserving of love, of care, of affection, of recognition. And we've gotten that mixed up. It was like, I don't need outside validation. Not about validation, but recognition. I see you, I hear you because you're human. Things, workhorses, but not human, but not human. And I want us to see ourselves as human. Let me see. I want y'all to see me. I want you to see yourself as human, which means you are deserving good and wonderful things. You are deserve. You are deserving of having your emotions acknowledged. If I'm upset with someone, out of respect for myself and for the other person, we need to have a conversation because I would afford you the same opportunity. And for far too long, we keep denying ourselves and others the honor and recognition of our basic humanity. Just this morning, I was at the grocery store and a woman, and we all had our mask on, and a woman looked at me. And I mean, she looked at me and she said, "Good morning." And it reminded me that, oh my goodness, I'm out and about doing so many things. I forget to acknowledge other humans. I forget to say morning and thank you. Sometimes I do. We all do. And we've gotten to a place where we have stopped recognizing each other's humanity until somebody's popping off, until someone's emotions have erupted. Then everybody is all of a sudden paying attention, but they're not paying attention to the root of the emotion. They're paying attention to the behavior and they just want it to stop. And so you never get what you need when you don't express your emotions appropriately. Now, I will be the first to admit, sometimes you can express yourself appropriately and people still won't see you as human. I always say, get around some other humans. You got to acknowledge and recognize and cultivate your safe spaces. Sometimes it's not your family. Oftentimes, it's not your family. Very much so. It's always not your family that always see you as something other than mom, sister, daughter, sister-in-law, aunt, co-worker. You know, they see you as the label and whatever limitations that label has. See me as a living, breathing being that is a spiritual being having a temporary human experience, but see me as that. I'm honoring myself, I'm honoring you. Let's honor each other by allowing ourselves the space to express what's going on with us. Not, I'm not diminishing therapy or coaching because I'm a coach, but a lot of times that stuff gets expressed in therapy or in coaching and it's never revealed anywhere else in your life. Or you tell one person, I tell my best friend everything, but then we're faking it with other people because we don't know how to express ourselves or we deny ourselves the privilege of expressing ourselves. If the Creator has given me all of these things that can move and motivate me, I want to use them all. I'm going to show you and tell you when I'm angry. And I know many of us is like, I be seen as an angry Black woman. I do. You need to know I'm angry. Doesn't mean that I hate you. Doesn't mean that I'm going to wreck stuff up. It means I'm expressing to you how I'm feeling. And that deserves to be affirmed. I deserve to assert myself. If I'm sad, I am deserving of expressing that. I'm upset. I don't like it. Doesn't mean that everybody's got to change to make sure that I'm okay, but I do have a right to express myself. That's assertiveness, not aggressiveness. And so many people have so much commentary about what Black women should be saying, wearing, doing, going. And sometimes it's us. Oh, you shouldn't be wearing that. You shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be doing that. Let people have full autonomy over who they are so that you get the same rights and privileges of having full autonomy over who you are. And so if you guys have any questions about the course or anything else that you want to talk about on a Saturday, we've been together for about an hour. I do have to say thank you for those of you who are looking for the live stream in the other place. Something happened, but we got it through. We're here. I'm hoping that the meditation felt good to you. that you recognize and realize through some of those statements that you have a right. You have an absolute right. You have a birthright to be in the presence of individuals who are allowing you to express yourself fully. You do not need to be erased. And sometimes we do it to ourselves. We erase ourselves by shrinking. You know, that denial and apathy I talked about when we shrink ourselves, or the guilt and the shame when we shrink ourselves. And sometimes, even the way we express our sadness and anger, we shrink ourselves. We isolate. I'm upset, so I ain't talking to nobody, right? It's a very different energy when you say, I'm upset and I need some time to myself versus I'm upset and so everybody's my enemy and I don't want to talk to anybody. That's you shrinking, or that's you telling people, I don't need you. And we absolutely do. I know I need people. And I hope that you feel the same, that yeah, you need people. So many of us feel like, particularly as Black women, that we've got to do this thing by ourselves. If you're going to call yourself a queen, you recognize the queen doesn't do anything by herself. As a matter of fact, queens do very little by themselves. And so if we are upholding ourselves in a particular energy and feeling that we should be honored and revered, then we got to act like it by speaking our minds, expressing ourselves, connecting to the emotions that are in our body. So we're not out here pretending and driving ourselves to early graves because we're pretending and doing so much for everyone else and leaving ourselves last. Let's not leave ourselves last anymore. So the chat is still open. If there are any comments, concerns, questions, anything else you guys want to talk about. Hey, Samari Bliss. Hi, Mako. Thank y'all for joining. Again, if you see this on the replay and you have some questions later, let me know. I see that my connection is a little fuzzy, so it may be ending in the next 30 seconds or so. It has been my pleasure to be here with y'all. I hope that you learned something, got something, gained something. Oh, my website, if you want to get in contact with me, I have office hours. I am opening up my calendar for more coaching clients in September. Well, right now, really, I am opening myself up to more coaching clients because I've cleared space. You know, the past couple of years that I've been doing this, it has afforded me the opportunity to bring on more clients. So if you are interested, you can go to my website and you can book a free 6 call with me so we can talk one-on-one what coaching looks like, what it does for you, all of that. Again, the course, A Time to Cry, starts Tuesday, 6:30. For the next 4 Tuesdays, we're going to meet at 6:30. There are several different ways, payment options. You can put it on Afterpay if you want to. You can do PayPal, credit card. Again, you can go to my website to find more information about that. I think I'm going to join the YouTube space more and more now that I'm comfortable with it. We might be doing some more meditations. Let me know if there are particular meditations that you would like me to focus on. I am here for you. I am so grateful that you have allowed me to be in your space for this amount of time on a Saturday. Wherever you are in the world, I trust all is well or on its way to being well. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. I love you. Have a great rest of your Saturday.